Good morning, afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is for you, I'm Cyclone. It's time for more Let's Play Train Simulator Classic. As you can see, I'm getting ready to start the Class 47 service, which looks like might be a passenger service, actually. It says it's a non-stop service, but might be passenger. We'll see when we get in there. But in any case, quick little update on what's going on with these first two scenarios. You see I have the gold star on each of them, so they are completed successfully. I do have my score on them. They're 1,000 points each. That's recorded. My XP should be granted for that, but it isn't. Not that it matters, because I don't care about the XP, but I'll test later and see if it actually is working. So yeah, the scenarios are not accepting XP. I found there's another problem. They're not accepting achievements either. There are 10 achievements that ship with the Trans-Pennine route, the Huddersfield route, and one should be assigning on each of the 8 scenarios. And did I say 8 scenarios? Sorry, 7 scenarios. I must forget what... Oh, the 10th one is for all scenarios. Sorry. The 10th achievement is for all scenarios. There's another one for driving 120 miles, and this is the important one. It still shows a 0. It shows I have not driven any miles on this route despite completing those 2 scenarios and all the extra takes that gave me even more mileage. So I have not gotten any miles on that. So the achievements right now are bugged, and the reason it's really interesting to talk about is because 2 people on my friends list suddenly got HL completed all scenarios in this pack, which A, would take a lot of time to do in the first 2 days if they were to do that, and 2, would also mean that they somehow got it in 2 days on 7 hours of scenarios. They would have to dedicate a lot of time to do that. One of them actually commented, "How did I get this? I didn't do this. Like, how did I get this?" So that achievement is tied to something else and not to these scenarios, is what I'm finding out here. I saw a report that apparently that achievement occurred on Soldier Summit, which I don't know how the heck that happened, but maybe that person completed the Soldier Summit scenarios. That's another Pennine area, I don't know, and somehow it got attached to that instead of this route. So the achievements are not properly assigned. I have made a report on this, and hopefully this does get rectified. I will show you, obviously, when it's working, because I have 2 weeks to do these scenarios for publishing for you. And once we see that they're working, I'll be able to go back and get the other ones and see if the XP works on them as well. No guarantee it will, but we'll give it a try and see if it happens. For right now, though, we are going to go ahead for the time being on scenario number 3, and maybe it's already fixed and we'll see it today. I don't know. But we are doing the Class 47-8 today. It is a service from Newcastle. I'm going to read what it says on the thing. Newcastle to Blackpool North. We're obviously picking up the service in progress as it comes into Leeds, I would imagine, and we're going to take it to Manchester, Victoria, probably on one of the through lines, not on the terminus line. So if we had a terminus, then there's a problem with that. But, yeah, the service is going to come into Leeds, go through Manchester, Victoria. We get to cover the whole route, except, again, for Newton Heath. And who cares about Newton Heath, right? And once we pull in Manchester, Victoria, another driver will relieve us and carry on. Let's take a look at this scenario, shall we? Good morning, driver. Today you'll be taking this summer Saturdays only service from Newcastle to Blackpool North as far as Manchester, Victoria. It must be like a vacation train or something. We are currently waiting on a late York-bound service to depart before getting our platform at Leeds. Excellent. So we're going to sit here and wait for a service. Now, we've not been told to do anything, and interestingly enough, the cabs are not going to be set up. We're going to have to actually turn everything on in the cab as though we were not already on the move. So that's kind of humorous. Yeah, so we have a red. It just changed to red. I just got the Trans-Pennine Expert Achievement, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how that happened. That's kind of weird. I'm going to turn on my wipers. And we're going to go ahead and just keep going, and hopefully I don't have any errors. But I'll pull into Leeds, and then we'll take a look at the menu to show what that looks like, because it's kind of weird. I'm actually distracted from everything else now. So headlights need to turn on. That'll work. Instrument lights are on. Hello. You're the Manchester Airport to York. You are late and you're causing me problems. How dare you? Let's turn this up. We have no AWS self-test, interestingly. Okay. That is, I guess, a bug with the train. I don't know. Maybe, I would imagine it does have a self-test. So we have released the brakes. We're moving into a shunt. Let's actually go a little faster than shunt because we can go 25 for right now. We are going to want to pull back to 15 momentarily. Let's give it a minimal RPM to get ourselves on the move. We have to pull in at 11:54. We do have a green signal. I remember looking in the menu at scenario number 7 and noticed it was a rainy one too. Why are both of the 47 scenarios in rain? Someone want to explain that to me? Are we only allowed to drive with 47 in rain? Down to 15 in time. Well in time, actually, because the sign's right ahead there. Now, we're going to continually lose speed on coast, so we might have to actually put a small amount of speed on. I've noticed there's a delay on this train, by the way. When I was doing the playing with the other version, the Virgin version, I found there was a bit of a delay on the train, so you have to actually take the throttle off. Like, I'll stop at 15, and I pull it off, and it actually worked this time, but sometimes I find there is a bit of a delay. So the engine is revving up, and you have to wait for get it revved back down. So we need to stop here. Yeah, we're picking up passengers in this express. Okay, so we are stopping here at Leeds. Naturally, we're not going to get all of our cars in the platform here. I mean, look how long our train is. Do you expect us to get everybody in here? Not a chance. But we are stopped at Leeds. We are going to open the doors, and I'm curious how good the door opening is on the back platform. Will it work? I bet you not. Yeah, oh, the back platforms are open. Okay, we're not even on the main platform, and they are working. So if we poke through here, we're going to see that back doors are open, and even the doors in the middle of the platform. Yeah, everybody's open. The whole platform works, even though it's listed as east-west. I like it. I like it. Yeah. Okay, that is good. That is really good. I like... Okay, you didn't open the front door. You jerk. Front door should be open too. What? Okay, it didn't open the front door for some reason. Front cab for some reason is not open. I don't know why this area is not considered open, but well, we're going to go ahead and wait here for the boarding to complete. See you on the other side of this. Leaving Leeds, our only stop is Manchester Victoria. We see a Newcastle service coming in, 1 minute and 30 seconds late, I guess is what that says. Either that or an hour 30, I'm not sure. I'm assuming it's 1:30 for a minute and seconds. You saw that we left out a green signal, so we are clear to proceed at line speed. I am moving up to 15 miles per hour. I'm going to go ahead and coast for now until we pull into the 25. We'll then move forwards for the 30. You can see a lot of junctions here at Leeds up ahead. The one that matters at the very end is Leeds exit Huddersfield, so we know that we're going in the right direction at this point. We are traveling on Leeds line F, which is the general service line for Huddersfield services, I think coming in and out. Though we saw that other one for heading for Newcastle coming out on line E, so line E can be used. E is probably for services going in. I haven't actually reviewed the timetable in that direction yet, so I couldn't confirm that. But since F is for all the services going out of Leeds, I assume E is for the services going in. So I'm assuming that what I see on this scenario is correct. And since I know who made this scenario for the pack, I'm going to assume he would know that it's correct. So I'm going to say that it is probably correct. And the information I'm giving you is probably correct as a result. You see, I have to shuffle the throttle once in a while to make sure I don't speed. So I just entered a 30 right now, and we're going to see a 45 after that. I have a low enough RPM that I don't think I'm going to cross the 30 at this point. In fact, I'm going to increase it slightly. So I should not cross the 30 before I hit the 45. Once I actually enter the 45, I should be able to crank it up because there's no way I'm going to reach the 45 before I can get to 75. So As we take the exit to Huddersfield, the line going through Wakefield Westgate does continue. I think it's the one to the right of us at this time. So that line continues to our right. I can crank that throttle up now, so we're going to do that. There goes another line. I think that's the one for, that might be the Bradford interchange line that's leaving. I don't have all the lines memorized, obviously, but I believe that's Bradford interchange. You can see the first station coming out now. Keep in mind, we only have one stop at Manchester Victoria, so none of what we're going to see up till Manchester is a stop, or even a go-via point. They are go-via points, but they're hidden, so they don't show as tasks. That's a way that you can set them up in the scenario editor, and the person who made the scenario knows very well how those work, so we're not bogged down with all these go-via tasks, like you see, for example, on Introduction to Sherman Hill, where every task is a go-via. If you were to do that today, you only need to have the task to stop at the end of the route, and that's all you need to do. But all the go-via tasks can still be there and can still be hidden. So that's basically what this scenario does. It hides all those tasks so we can go on. So we are going to probably see all the stations indicated because of that, because each station can be a go-via task, and it also highlights the station so you know where we are. I think that is something that scenario maker actually does. And I like the fact that he does that, because it's a good way to remind people where they are without having to pull up the map and ruin the immersion. So I like that. As a result, we know that Cottingley is coming up, and we're about half a mile away from that. I'm going to pay my speed up even more, because I think I can get a little faster here. You can see that I'm currently scheduled to be 6 minutes early. This is going to fluctuate as we hit different speed limits, so we'll deal with it. This train, I don't know if it actually gets up to 75 either, so we might actually be in a situation where we're gaining time, maybe at 65 or something like that. We definitely won't reach 85 of this thing. Here's Cottingley Station. 800 meters again, or yeah, about 800 meters, 800 yards or something down the road, we're going to come upon the new White Rose Station. Not in this DLC, but I believe it is before the signal. So I believe this is around where the new White Rose Station is going to be. It's right before the curve. So this would be around where it is. The White Rose Business Park is off to our left. I showed you that in nicer weather on a previous scenario. And man, that's looking nice on this route. I really like how that was set up here. Very nice looking area. We're going to get a warning for a speed drop in a moment, so let's get ready for that. I'm letting this train drop on its own for now. We will decrease on our own if we need to the 45. It's actually coming off very nicely, so I'm going to put a little bit of mileage of RPM back on. There was the alert. I responded. Okay, now I'll take the speed throttle back off. Still losing a little bit of time here, but that's okay. We have 6.5 minutes to work with. So I'll let the speed drop to 44, and then I should be able to crank it back up, because it's going to take a while to kick back in. So, well, not yet, because I'm not quite in the 45, so forget that plan. I'll put a little bit of throttle on so we don't lose much more. It looks like I will need to crank it up, so I am going to crank it back up. We're now going through Morley, platform 2, platform 1 to the other side. And here's the Morley Tunnel. I've eased the throttle off because I realized I was gaining speed too quickly. I just turned it off to make sure I don't break the speed limit. That gives a moment for it to reset. We are now in the 75. We're able to go. So 75 is now our new speed limit. While we're hanging out here, the Morley Tile, just a quick commentary that the next scenario, scenario number 4, will publish tomorrow. So keep an eye for that on the playlist if you are on my playlist. Again, if you're going to be around the home doing things for a while, the playlist I've set up are a good way to have something going on while you're doing your cleaning or whatever else it is you want to do. I do it at home myself all the time. I look for cab ride videos. I put them up on the TV. They're an hour or two long. And I just let them play. I might not even be in the room to watch the whole thing. I just let it play, and it also shows as an activity for the user who makes that video to show that people are actually using the video and putting it through in full, because we can actually see that on our end, so on the YouTube side, on the studio side. So it's the way to show support by having the video playing all the way along, even if you're not in there the whole time. Of course, in my case, I have commentary, so you're missing commentary if you're not in the room, but that's okay as well. Because I do that with commentary videos as well. I walk out of the room because something's got to do something. I come back. Okay, what did I miss? Okay, I moved 5 miles up. Cool. So you can bring up the playlist. Just go through the videos one at a time as it fancies you, or just load them up one at a time, whatever one interests you. We're on a downhill segment right now, so I'm going to pull the throttle off completely for right now to see what that does. 1 in 137, I believe, is still going to be a very slight increase, and it looks like that is indeed what is correct. What I expected is correct. Just went through a level crossing there. This is Batley. You can see Dewsbury up ahead on the HUD. I like to make saves as I go on these long scenarios, so partly for recording purposes in case something bad happens, like a sneezing fit, that I can just pick up from a certain point and resume. Also in case I screw up. So I'm going to probably give you a shot at Dewsbury with the train going by. I'll record a save at the end of that. And it'll be seamless to you. You wouldn't know that, but I'm just telling you that's a little trick to recording. So you can do different segments, and if something goes wrong, redo a segment instead of the whole scenario. And this is what DTG advises as well, especially because there are some memory problems on some setups. While your game could have an out-of-memory error. I don't see it very often myself, but I have seen it. You can have an out-of-memory error, so this is a way to avoid the out-of-memory problem as well. Come back and try it again from a save point. So here we are coming up right now about 1/10 of a mile. We're going to be seeing Dewsbury platform number 2. I seem to have lost a little speed coming through Dewsbury, so I've gone ahead and reapplied the throttle coming out. And we are now approaching Ravensthorpe, platform number 2, as our next go via point. We are on a 1 in 140. Actually, now I'm about to... what happened was the downhill shallowed a little bit. We seem to be having some interesting quirks in the downhill right now. It's kind of getting steeper, then shallowing again, then getting steeper. So I'm going to keep a minimal throttle setting for now until I know what's going on. And now we are on level ground, so we're definitely going to go ahead and put a higher throttle setting at this point, I'm trying to say. I may be able to see the line coming in from Wakefield Kirkgate to the left. As we get through Ravensthorpe, that line will join us. This is Ravensthorpe. This is the line from Wakefield Kirkgate. Again, there are services that start at Wakefield Kirkgate. The Doncaster Leeds line today, there were two different versions. One is now disused and lifted. But the current Doncaster Leeds line, which goes over us shortly after leaving us near Leeds, heads also through Wakefield Westgate, but it actually goes on a bridge over the station. So Wakefield Westgate, Wakefield Kirkgate are neighbors on a different line that goes under that line, and that's the line that joins us. So the Doncaster Leeds line in no way rejoins us. It just goes to Doncaster. We have a 70-mile-per-hour speed limit coming up ahead, so I am going to momentarily shut off my throttle to lose some miles off my speed limit. In fact, I've already lowered my throttle to 400, and that seems to be causing a decrease immediately. Here is Murfield. You see this is a staggered platform. Murfield on our left, and here's the one on our right. Track's a little bumpy here, I'm noticing. Now I will turn the throttle off. I'm not losing speed fast enough, so I need to turn it off to lose the rest. I should not need to use the brakes on this segment, and indeed that is proving to be the case. So I'm putting some RPM back on to not lose too much speed. Hopefully it will maintain. I'm where I want to be right now, so I'm going to watch for it to start increasing again. I think I'll need more RPMs to do that, actually. So until I hit a downhill, I should be safe. Actually, I'm now on a 1 in 500 uphill gradient. I'm going to let the speed drop a little bit before I apply any more power, just in case I come to a downhill. And I believe it is uphill most of the way to station beyond Huddersfield at this point. I want to say it's to Marsden. It's uphill to Marsden, I believe, and that's where the Stand Edge Tunnel is. And then we start going downhill after that. I think that's how the, if I remember correctly, that's how the topography of the route lies out. Now we're losing a lot of speed now off in terms of a pace. So I've gone ahead and increased the RPM to 500. I don't have to necessarily go all the way to 70. I want to stay close to it. So if I keep losing, then I have to add more RPM. I am gaining time, however. I am very early. So at this point, we are still going to be 6 minutes early for our stop, and that's okay. Okay, now I'm going to add another 50 RPM to see what that does. This station is not marked. We saw Murfield, so I'm trying to think what that station is. I don't remember. I'm going to cheat and look at the map for this one. As I see another speed limit coming, that is not looking at the map. This is looking at the map. Oh yeah, Staten, that's what it is. I think that's the one before Huddersfield. So there's Huddersfield up there, you can see, and failed class 142 pair. Okay, I just got wind of a storyline, guys. You can see Huddersfield up ahead. I've turned the throttle off. We have to get down to 30 anyway, so definitely a good reason to turn the throttle off. Now I think I know why we have so much time. We're going to have to get a red signal somewhere up ahead. I have responded to the signal. Because the problem with responding to the alert does not exist on this train, I believe emergency brake penalties would apply on this scenario. So I believe that is the case here. Pardon me, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if I'm going to get that speed down in time for the 40. I may have to crank up the brakes a little bit here. Or maybe I will. I might be down quick enough. Let's see. Oh yeah, I'm well in time. I'm going to take them off for a moment before I move down to 30. In fact, I might get down to 30 on my own. The uphill is helping that. 1 in 109, now shallowing out a little bit, so I might need a little more brake. Now very shallow by comparison. Much less steep. We're under the 40. I will put a little more brakes on. I do need them. I've concluded. Keeping a close eye on it. We're down in time. We're under 30, and it's a 50 right after the station, so we're not going to be at it for long. Here is Huddersfield, as we would expect. We're now under the station exit 30 as we enter the Huddersfield South Tunnel. Once again, the line from Penistone is going to be to our left. These headlights actually show you stuff in the tunnel very nicely, I'm finding. I actually like that. I have seen people make different headlight files to increase the brightness of them so you get better view in tunnels and things like that, which I think is kind of nice. Makes it look, I guess, in some cases more realistic too. I don't know. I wouldn't know. But I've seen headlight mods where they've changed the density of the lights or the amount of space you see ahead or things like that. So I'm sure someone will make an adjustment for this train at some point if they haven't already. Or they'll just use the Armstrong Powerhouse one. There's that possibility too. But the keyboard shortcuts are old for that one because this is first train. He actually tried to pull it from the store at one point, and there was an outcry because it's used in pretty much every scenario, so no, couldn't pull it. There goes the Penistone line. Just here, remove my chair for a second here, sorry about that. You notice I have 500 points on my ticker. There's only the 2 tasks, and one of them's already done on Leeds. So basically, we know we're getting 500 points at Manchester Victoria. That's our perfect score. If we ruin anything along the way, there it goes. Since we have lots of time to work with, I've lost 1 minute so far, but since we have a lot of time to work with, we didn't get storyline on that 142 pair either, interestingly enough. But with all the time, I'm not going to push it. I'm just going to go ahead and make sure we stay at least a few miles under. Unless it's at a lower speed, in which case I have to stay close to it. Like right now, I wanted to get up to 50 or 65, but I couldn't. We're now going to be approaching 75 as our limit. I am at max throttle. There's nothing I can really do to gain any speed any faster. Especially because we're on this uphill right now. I would assume the timing takes this into account. Because you can't be penalized a minute for every 2 minutes, for every 2 miles or something like that, for something you can't control. In this case, it would be something we can't control. That 30 at Huddersfield is a death knell for 45 services. Or 47 services, sorry. Maybe 45 too, I don't know. Haven't driven one yet. It looks like we are losing a little time on this uphill, unfortunately, so I assume we'll still VTA around 12:43 on the other side of this hill. We'll see what happens. We're not due until 12:47 and 30 seconds. can just see Slough Station's marker ahead here. The green marker is there. The name is just scrolling in right now. You have no idea how hard it is for me to not say Slaithwaite. I still don't know how they get Slough. You see that's the Manchester Airport to Middlesbrough service. I was about to muse about how that could be, but no, Manchester is still ahead. So yeah, Manchester Airport to Middlesbrough is a very, very common service on this line, and Middlesbrough to Manchester. I believe the service is run every hour, and I think it's about a 2-hour drive to get to Manchester Airport. Might be 3 hours or 4 hours, I don't know. Anyway, here is Slough. Yeah, the Middlesbrough population, they don't get sent down to Gatwick. They just come over to Manchester Airport. They take the services out of there. Now, something I can say, out of having researched this, there are services for Gatwick Airport from London, Ontario to London, England, and they go through Gatwick. So if I were to ever come to the UK, well, I'm probably going to be flying into Gatwick, guys. I don't see that happening anywhere in the near future, A, because I don't have a passport, and B, because I have no immediate plans to be in the UK in the future. But someday, the UK is one of those 3 or 4 places I would love to see before I perish on the earth. I would love to see these places, the UK one day, and parts of the UK. And from what I understand, very, very gentlemanly people you have there as well. So I definitely would love to get some of that UK hospitality. And I'm sure there's someone hearing that saying, what hospitality? Insert rim shot. So, looking at the ETA, I'm up to about 12:43 now. I am getting towards the top of the hill, so I was a little bit off on my estimate on the lost ETA time here. Either I didn't respond properly on the speed limits back at Huddersfield, which I find hard to imagine because I did crank it up fairly quickly after getting out of the station. But at the same time, I'm also thinking we would have still lost time even under the best case scenario. It might have been a 15-30 seconds less. But again, it's a long drive. It's mostly downhill after we get through the tunnel. So I don't think we're going to have any more ETA problems once we get through Stand Edge Tunnel. It's going to be downhill most of the way at that point. Speaking of, oh, why am I lowering? No, don't lower your speed yet. 45 is up ahead. The warning was for the 45. I almost lowered for the 60, which I'm already at 53.2. I will turn the throttle off, though, for a moment. I did not catch who that service was, unfortunately. Put a little bit of engine back on so we don't lose too much here. But I do need to get down to, oh yeah, I need to lower it off. There we go. So we did pass Marsden. I didn't call it out because I was concentrating on my speed. But we did pass Marsden there. Okay, let's try to maintain, not really gain or lose. That's gaining or losing. So, no, don't want that. Off we go. We're low enough now that we're going to be gaining, but we have an 85 very shortly as we get to stand edge tunnel. You may have saw the canal aqueduct thing there near the entrance. I should be able to go now without a problem because I'm now entering the 85. You just saw the little circle there going by at the start of the tunnel. And it will be behind my train by the time I get to 45 again. Like that. Perfect. Crank it. I question whether my instrument lights are actually working. Oh, they are. Just can't see them very well. I question how useful those instrument lights are to our train drivers here, to our player base. That could probably take an improvement. It is based on the Virgin model, which is seen to be the best model, at least in terms of how it's designed and how it functions. But it's just the dials you can't read very well in tunnels. So this is, I believe, the second longest tunnel on the route. I believe Morley Tunnel is the longer of the two. But they are pretty close, so I could be wrong. So that almost looks like the tunnel exit up ahead. Sometimes tunnel segments do load late, though. Those are already up to 60 miles per hour because we're not fighting an uphill gradient at this point. And there's a downhill coming up as well where we're going to be back down to 60 again. So that is the supposedly there's the tunnel. But the tunnel segments do load onwards as you go. So well, it looks like the end of the tunnel may just be a light that gets turned off at some point. You know, for budget reasons, the light at the end of the tunnel has been turned off. But here every Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So I think we're still about a mile from the tunnel exit here. You see the green signal. Actually, that might still be within the tunnel. We just have to drop to 60 while we're in the tunnel. Interesting. I didn't remember that from the previous drive. You think I would have? Being an expert train driver here. No, I'm not an expert train driver. We'll just work with it. From the previous scenario, you think I would know. Okay, we have to get down into... Oh, we're lowering our speed for a downhill. That's fantastic. That is what's happening. We lower our speed for the downhill. Just what to lower your speed for, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we are in the point of downhill plunging at this stage at 60 miles per hour. Very, very slight bit here. It is right before we exit the tunnel. The green signal was not in the tunnel like I thought for a second. That's the green signal. And I'm not even going to apply throttle at this point because I fully expect the increase to 65 to occur on my downhill plunge. ETA is now about 12:44, so we are still slowly losing time. We are about a little less than 15 miles away from Manchester, Victoria at this time. We could still lose 1 minute for every 5 miles and we're still going to be okay. But let's try not to do that, shall we? The downhill, we should be able to maintain our speed limits without going over. Price is right rules. Again, the Mickelsfield, or I believe it's called Mickelsfield. I hope to say that right because I don't remember all of a sudden. But the Micklehurst line, sorry. Micklehurst line would be off to our left at this point. I think you can see kind of where it would have been. This, I believe, is an old station platform for a station that's now closed. That's why it's so close to the tracks. I'm not sure what that building is used for nowadays. Now I am intently curious. I want to know. may research that. We're actually losing speed now, which I did not expect. So we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of throttle on. 175 is not enough of a gradient, looks like, to keep plunging. It actually slows you down. So I need to get closer to 65 again. Here's Greenfield. The downhill gradient is getting stronger again, so I've turned the throttle off. 1 in 125 does gain you speed. For that reason, I'm putting a brake application on now. I've now released it being under the 64. When I hit 65, I will once again drop it to 64. Mossley is coming up. That's going to be the next station. You also see a level crossing warning, but I didn't see the level crossing in the dusk. Let's see if the level crossing shows up in the daytime here, even in the rain. There's a Liverpool Lime Street to Scarborough service. I still did not see the level crossing. So I think it's just not depicted here. You just got the horn for it, but it's not depicted. Which is an interesting combination. Train is bouncing a little bit as we move along here, which is very interesting. Let me see if I can get us a view of Mossley as we go by. I'll drop my speed just a little bit for this purpose so I don't speed myself. And here is Mossley Station. So we did make it to 63 coming through Mossley. We are continuing to gain speed, so cutting the speed back for that shot was probably the right move. This, I believe, is a scout tunnel. I believe Stalybridge is our next station. After that is Ashton-under-Lyne, and then we come to Manchester Victoria, because again, Park and Miles Plating no longer exist. Didn't catch who that was. Looked like a 47. Now we're being warned for the 50, so we're going to actually go ahead and cut our speed a little bit more since we are on a downhill. We can't rely on the train to do it. We're going to have to force it this time. Stalybridge does have a 50 limit going through. We're also being given signals. We're going to have a 25 junction up ahead as well, so we're going to need to trim for the junction at some point too. 1244 is still our ETA, so we've cut about half our remaining distance. We have a little bit more of a comfort level now for our arrival time. I'm going to get a little under 50, and I'll just hold it there for a moment. We're still going to have to get under 25 as we move along, so I'll release for now. And about 3/4 of a mile out might be enough time to start dropping from 25. There's our single flashing yellow, so we know the next signal is going to be clear, moving us onto the junction. So we are going to plan for that. This is the Stanley Bridge Old Tunnel. There should be a second tunnel in the middle. There should be a gap between them, but unfortunately that is not simulated in the DLC. The only reason I know that is because I've seen 2 cab ride videos that show there's a gap. One of them is present day from this year. I believe last month as I'm recording this. So that detail was unfortunately not picked up in this tunnel. So I've gone ahead and reapplied the brakes to start bringing us down to 25. I actually did do a partial drop already. I'm going to stop at 30 for right now. Because we are now effectively losing time as long as we're bringing our speed down for the 25. Maybe I did it a little too early, but we had the time to work with, so it's okay. There's a lady staying there with an umbrella. I don't understand. There's our yellow up ahead. Now the next signal could be a red because we are going under a yellow signal. Now the way the route is programmed, we're probably going into a green, but we have to assume the next signal could be red. There could still be a train parked in front coming from Ashton-under-Lyne on the wrong track for all we know, and we have to plan that that could be the case. There goes the route towards Manchester Piccadilly. We're still on one of the lines now. We're going to pull off to get to the Manchester Victoria line, so that line is going to continue. Those are the 2 tracks for services from Piccadilly. I'm told there's actually a freeware version of Huddersfield, obviously with different assets and stuff, but that one apparently includes Manchester Piccadilly. I'm a little surprised that Manchester Piccadilly got omitted knowing that that already exists, because that would have added to the value of the route, but at the same time, I understand they were working to get as much as they could in with what they had, and they just didn't have time to do Piccadilly, unfortunately, I guess. We can go up to 60 now. And eventually to 70, so I'm just going to crank it up to full. My wipers are going really fast. Why are they so fast? I do not know why the wipers are so fast. I don't think they're supposed to be that fast. That's actually distracting me now. We got the little metronome at the top up there to hypnotize you. This is the Catherine Street tunnel we just went through, by the way. Or maybe this is the Catherine Street tunnel. One of them is. I guess I don't know offhand what the other one is. That's fine. I'll accept that. As we currently stand, we are about 6¼ miles away from Manchester Victoria. We do expect more speed limit reductions as we go, but right now we're cruising at 75 miles per hour. There's not a lot more for me to bring up here. Once we come to the Clayton Bridge Viaduct, that's where we're going to start hitting a few more landmarks as we enter the city. It's really not until that point that I'm going to really want to take note of anything. There is going to be a line joining us. There it is right there. This is the Ashton-Moss North Junction. We have a little bit more of a country drive for about, I want to say about 2 miles here before I have to start worrying about coming into the city and slowing down for that. Because the path in the city is very, very heavily downhill, you may remember, and very, very easy to make mistakes on. I'm going to go ahead and ease off the throttle now because I see we're on a 1 in 100 downhill. That's going to be quite an increase, actually. to our trains, so we're going to have to keep the brakes working on that. We know there's going to be a 70 coming up as well, so that 70 is going to be dictating how we come in. The gradient has smoothed out. It may steepen again for a moment, but if not, we're going to want to brake anyway. Yeah, no reason to apply any more throttle at this point. We're doing okay for time. We don't have to go all the way to 75. We have a wall and a bridge. This is the Clayton Bridge Viaduct, so a little view from above there. Across the river there. And this is the Clayton Bridge CCTV crossing. Bogley Fold Junction, I'm probably saying that wrong, I guarantee you I'm saying it wrong, is the next junction landmark here. B-A-G-U-L-E-Y is how you spell it. Bogley. Beyond that junction, we will see the disused park station. We're now going to be officially with that on the stretch into Liverpool, Manchester in terms of landmarks, because there's not much distance to Miles Plating Junction, which is the actual move into the city. That 30 is on Miles Plating Junction. And there's the warning for it right now, so we're going to start dropping our speed for the 60. Going to ease off the brakes for now because I can do a little bit here, I think, but I do want to get down for the 30 well in time here. So half a mile out, I'm going to probably just use that brake on minimum the rest of the way. In fact, that's close enough. Let's do it. I don't like this pace. Hopefully it improves for me. Okay, maybe a little bit of a heavier brake, so we're going to move that up a little. Back to a minimum brake. That should do it. That's just fine. Perfect. Let's get it down a few miles because we are going to be on what looks like a very, very heavy downhill coming up here. We want to be ready to respond to it. 1 in 117 right now. This is the former Miles Plating Station location. This is where the station ended, right here, where you see that wall on the right. And this is Miles Plating Junction. On a 1 in 117 gradient as we travel through this 30. Not gaining too much speed on it, thankfully, but I'm probably. Oh, here's where it really starts. Look at this: 1 in 47, not 147, 1 in 47. So we're gonna hold the brakes for a moment here to make sure we don't crash into past 30 before it's too early. We should be able to move up to 50 now easily. So we're gonna do that, but we're not even getting close to 50 because we have a 40 coming up. Our ETA still shows us having nearly 2 minutes, so I don't really see a reason to gain too much speed here. We can sacrifice one of those minutes going 25 if we wanted to. There's the station up there, so we'll be there in about 2 minutes anyway. There you go. That's all we need to know. Now we're coming up to a 40, so I need to hit those brakes on. Let's put a heavier brake on to make sure we don't break it. There we go. It gets down to 35 as a working point, as we're on a 1 in 59 gradient. We want to maintain some control. There's our alert for a double yellow. We're going to be stopped at Liverpool, so I guess the signaler has been informed we are doing a crew change there. And for that reason, we have a double yellow, so we have to stop at, we have to end our run at Victoria. The next driver will take over, they'll get the green signal to go. He or she. So we will have a single yellow coming up here. That 25 means nothing because it is beyond the red signal. If we are hitting that 25, we've already lost the game. There's the warning for our single yellow. That should be our, except for maybe a warning for the 25, that's otherwise our last warning. We will get one for the red signal as well if we go far enough, which I think we're going to have to. Our train, yeah, we will get a warning for the red signal. Pretty sure about that, because we are going to go far enough in the station. I'm letting the, we've evened out our speed a little bit here. That's nice to see. So I'm going to stop at about 15 for right now. That should do the job for coming in. I will increase our brakes again as we come halfway in the platform. That should be good enough to bring the train to a nice gentle stop. You see the red at the end of the platform, as we were instructed. We're hitting a little uphill as we come in the station. That'll help us with slowing down a little bit. Put a little of that brake on right now, because why not? You might be thinking that red might be a mid-platform spad, but it is right at the end of the station, so we don't have a problem with that. I'm treating it as a buffer right now. I want to leave about a 1/10 of a mile so the next driver can see the signal as well. Problem is, can I get the whole train in the station? This is going to be tricky. The entire train should now be in the platform. I'm going to go just an inch further. That'll do. So we're going to wait till 12:47. We're going to open the doors right there. That is arrival at Manchester Victoria. Let's look at the train. So the next driver should be along momentarily, and we'll take the train and off he will go without us, which is how it's designed, because for us, we have a buffer. He can see things we can't. AI drivers, I don't understand them. In any case, that's 3 scenarios down. I'm curious to see if the achievement situation has fixed itself by the time I play this, because I did give it a little bit of time after reporting the problem with the file, with the, with the achievements not working in that. So we'll see if they're working. From the fact that I got credited for completing all scenarios without completing all scenarios at the load of this scenario, it is actually likely I'm not going to get credit for anything. It'd be comical if I do. Or if yeah, it's going to be comical either way is a better way to put it. I think another train, there goes another train, look at that. Well, that explains the red signal, we had to wait for him. So we weren't just allowed to proceed, we have a bit of a layover here. Planned layover. So that should be enough to bring up the end of scenario at this point. So let's see what we do. I know that this scenario maker, another train, wow. This scenario maker does put a little bit of storyline in the end of his scenarios as well, so we are going to get some kind of storyline on this as we finish. Probably just say, great run, you were on time and all that, and go get a coffee or something. It's probably what the storyline is going to be. Frankly, I was not expecting this much of a delay. Excellent work, driver. That was a good run over the Pennines. Get yourself into the staff room where you can put your feet up and grab a brew. Like I said, grab a coffee. That's what it's going to say. That's going to complete the scenario. We're just going to get a scenario complete window. So I actually like the fact now that this freezes the game. Once we close this, we're going to be able to move on. So I can actually talk about the storyline. Better situation than the other two scenarios for sure. But in any case, I'm going to just see at the scoring screen. There's nothing else to talk about here. That's the end of the scenario. Let's look at the result. Should be a pretty clean one. Well, I think we can say definitively that the achievements still do not work. I should have gotten an achievement here for completing the scenario with a score of at least 800 points. I know that because I researched it. So XP is still not gaining. Scenario achievements are still not being granted. And I guarantee you that time driven is probably still not going to count on my achievement mileage for the Huddersfield 120 miles on this route. I will need to get the 4th scenario out for Saturday. Hopefully they fix it by that point, but I'll have to see if those last 4 scenarios will give me enough mileage. I don't know if they will. 3 of them, I believe, are full drives. We'll have to see. I don't know if we can get the full mileage on those scenarios or not. I don't know. Actually, by the time I get to the last 3, I won't have enough, so I'm going to have to do another run again, another few runs to get the full achievement score, it looks like. What can you do? It's, again, not a big deal. It's just achievements. Who cares? But at the same time, it shows things you can still do to play the game. And if you somehow get through all 1,300 and 400 and plus achievements, then you're pretty much a master at that point. That's basically the way to look at it. You're probably a master when you got about a couple hundred of them, to be honest with you. But in any case, that's the end of that scenario. And scenario 4 next time is another Class 158 scenario. So we're going to have the crippled alerter responses coming up on the next scenario. Stay tuned to see where I'm going to get stopped on that one and where I'm going to scream and kick and blow up something. Other than that, have a wonderful day, evening, night, whatever it is for your part of the world. Make sure you like, video, subscribe to the channel. And if you're on my playlist, that video will start in 3, 2, 1.